This is Suit Up Sports.
Suit Up Sports.
Where opinions are as sharp as a tailored suit. No fluff, no gimmicks, just unfiltered, hard-hitting takes on sports and a whole lot more. It's time to suit up. Now here's your host, DJ the Suit Stout.
Today's Suit Up Sports is brought to you by Neogenics, Charlotte's #1 when it comes to stem cells and regenerative therapy. I'm not saying that because that's what I'm supposed to say. I'm saying that because I've lived it. So is Frank. Nico over at Neogenics is taking care of us. I've had stem cells in my arm. I've had it in my knee. I've had it in my shoulder. You've had it in your back.
Buddy, you ain't lying when you're talking about Neogenics as a life support for us as older guys. Weekend warriors.
Yep.
If you're looking to, kind of replenish your body and get that 30-something filled back, Neogenics is the place for you. I know a lot of Panther players used it. I used it. Got my lower back done.
Yep.
And the best thing about them, buddy, is that they will tell you exactly what it is that you need to do, and they might not be able to help you.
And if they can't treat you, they won't treat you.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's any nagging joint pain, shoulder, neck, back, knees, any of those things, they'll treat it. They do stem cells, they do PRP, and like Frank said, they do a lot of athletes from Thomas Davis to Harold Varner Jr. to Matt Doherty, and I can go to Tony Womack, baseball all-star. It works, and they're honest, like Frank said. Some of their competition they'll treat you just to take the money, whether they know it's going to work or not work. These guys are only going to work with you if they know they can help you. 704-727-6551. That's 704-727-6551 or neogenicstemcells.com. You see it on the bottom scroll of our show, neogenicstemcells.com. Tell them DJ and Frank sent you.
Check them out, bud.
Thank you. Filling in for Frank Garcia today. Frank's in a charity golf tournament with Neogenics. Mark, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me back. I always enjoy chopping it up with you.
Well, we got a lot to chop up.
Yes,
today.
we do.
And I know Big D's over here, producing the show, and he saw me probably writing down more notes before this show today than he's seen before because there's so many.
You do have a lot of notes.
Dude, pages of them.
I don't know if you wrote that much down when you were in school.
I did not. Especially if I didn't have somebody sitting next to me whose paper I could cheat off of. But and I probably didn't even need to write this down because I'm so pissed off about most of it.
That's just good to see somebody write, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if people write anymore. Everything's on the computer, or the laptop,
computers.
whatever. But
I hate them.
I love that old school.
Yeah.
You got your paper, you got your pen.
You wouldn't be. I mean, the pads missing half the binders.
I love it.
I was angrily flipping pages, I think. So we're going to start off today with a new segment called "To Slow My Roll" or "To Not Slow My Roll." So I'm going to tell you things that I'm either happy about or mad about, and you're going to tell me, whoa, you're way wrong, slow your roll. Okay. Or you're going to say, no, I agree with you, don't slow your roll, you're right on target, all right?
I like it, let's go.
And we're going to start off with, and we're going to jump around, right? Because I kind of wrote these down as they came out of my angerness or my happiness, right? A lot more anger than happy. I know
the teams that you root for. You have a lot to be angry about this weekend.
I haven't had a win yet this year in college or pro. And my baseball team is slowly losing their wild card lead. So yeah, sports right now and me are not getting along very well. So we're going to start off to slow my roll or not slow my roll with our boy number 17, Xavier Legette. Enough. I can't stand watching this dude play anymore. Now, yesterday, 8 targets, -2 yards. I think it's the first time in NFL history that's ever happened. Unfortunately, this Panther team under Dave Canales and Tepper have done a really good job of doing things that have never happened in the NFL. Unfortunately, they're all bad. And Xavier Legette, they trade up in the first round to get him. Yep. And seems like he's got all the tools in the world. But week in and week out, the dude doesn't make plays. We had the play last week when he didn't get his feet in bounds, when he had plenty of time to do it, just totally unaware of where he was on the field. We saw the drops last year, but we kind of all watched that away to being a rookie, and he had a wrist injury. And then yesterday, first of all, I want to say this. A lot of those targets he couldn't have caught. Like, a lot of those targets weren't good passes or the defender made a good play. So I want to make sure I say that. But it's the other things you see him doing, like blocking and running the wrong routes or just looking lackadaisical.
Yeah, and you bring that up. We saw that at the end of the half, him And I know they weren't in a hurry. I know that's another thing.
That's on the list.
You want to talk about.
That's on the damn list.
It's kind of, he was lackadaisical trying to get to the line of scrimmage. I'm like, show some urgency, man.
Yeah, that's on the list too when we get to the end of the half. But Xavier Legette, I'm done with him. I mean, I know there's potential there, but at some point in time, you know, they benched Bryce Young last year after 2 awful games. And Legette's off to 2 awful games. We got receivers on this team who seem to show flashes, like Bryson Tremaine, who they got from the Redskins practice squad. Dude, 6'4", made a heck of a catch yesterday. Yeah. I'd love to see more of him. Jimmy Horn Jr. hasn't been activated yet. You know, he brings a dimension of speed. He also can add to our kickoff and punt returns, which have been non-existent. Etienne showed. I like Etienne, but he's shown some flashes, but he's not Jimmy Horn when it comes to that just breakaway speed and elusiveness. So enough of Xavier Legette. I'm done with him. Start giving his reps to some of these other guys. When Coker comes back, obviously that's going to make it even more interesting. But slow my roll on that, or am I right on?
The thing you brought up there at the end of that statement is why I'm going to tell you to slow your roll for right now, and that's Jalen Coker.
Yeah.
Once he comes back, we can have this discussion, and I'm probably 100% with you.
Yeah. I
just think right now, I don't know if you can bench him. You mentioned Tremaine, big catch there across the middle yesterday. I think everybody seems to like him. I guess I'm willing to give XL a little bit more time, but when Coker comes back, if this continues, this discussion probably not only needs to happen, what needs to happen is him not getting reps anymore, or him not dressing on a Sunday.
I'm with you. Send him a message and see if it wakes him up, because right now, when you have a first-round pick in the NFL and you miss on it, it literally can set you back years. And what really kills me about the Xavier Legette pick was Ladd McConkey was sitting there 3 picks later.
Yes.
And everybody knew that was Ladd going to be the explosive player that Xavier could possibly be? No. But was McConkey going to get open and catch everything thrown to him and depend on him? Hell yeah. And what has he done? That. Yep. I think he's
wide receiver number 1.
No doubt.
Herbert.
No doubt.
Not even a question.
I think he's got a streak of like 9 games with at least 50 to 60 yards receiving, 7 or 8 catches.
You'll see him tonight. You'll see him tonight. He'll put on another show probably.
Yeah. So, all right, I can go with that. We'll give him a couple more.
For now. I'll slow it. I'm on the path with you, but right now I'm going to say slow your roll.
All right, this one. So, going into the offseason, going into preseason, through free agency, through the draft, everybody knew that the Panthers linebacking core was awful. And even if Jewell was healthy and was able to play, it still was shaky at best.
Mm-hmm.
And we do nothing except bring in Roseboom, who, yes, he had a hell of a year making tackles last year, but he also had a great defense around him in the Rams. I think that Trevin Wallace and Roseboom are the 2 worst linebackers in the NFL by far. I don't think it's close. They can't cover anybody. Trevin Wallace, it seems every time you see him on a play, he's chasing somebody. And I'm talking even when he has a clean shot to make a tackle. Roseboom is at least, I guess he gets side to side and makes some plays, but he can't cover anybody either. He missed a big sack yesterday where he had a wide open look. And I know Kyler Murray's elusive and he's only 5'3", whatever. Enough of this. Now, the problem with that is, you don't have 2 guys on the bench that you can put in there. But I'm telling you right now, there's got to be 2 better linebackers on somebody's practice squad somewhere better than this. They can't be worse. They can't be worse. And I said last week about the coaching staff needing to play these rookies like Umanilin and Scorton and Ransom, and they did. And guess what?
Yeah,
they played well. And my point behind playing them was, they're going to make some rookie mistakes. They're inexperienced, but they can't be worse. Get some youth in there, get some speed in there, get some new guys in there that are playing with their hair on fire on a team that plays as if they're wearing fireproof vest. There's no fire. So the middle linebacking play, I don't know what they do, but I'm telling you right now, if I'm the Panthers, I guarantee you they're going to have some in to work out today. I would think. They didn't have any linebackers in to work out last week either, which befuddled me.
Mm-hmm.
And so they better address this now. They needed some new blood in there. I don't know who's on the free agent list out there that hasn't been signed. I know there's a couple veterans out there, but that always worries you a little bit because they haven't played yet. Are they in shape? Are they going to get hurt? But I don't care. They've got to be better than what we've got. And really, Trevin Wallace is the one I'm really disappointed in. Again, 3rd round pick last year. Last year's draft is starting to look abysmal. And listen, this year's draft looks better on paper right now, but we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
So address these middle linebackers. I need to see somebody in there this week besides Wallace, besides Roseboom, at least getting some reps, and let's see what they got. Because right now, these 2 guys aren't getting it done. And Brentson Buckner is going to join us in a little while. Former NFL player, great coach, one of the smartest football guys I know. So I can't wait to see his thoughts on this. But slow my roll or keep on that path.
I'm with you as far as kicking the tires on some other guys, DJ. I mean, these guys you mentioned, Wallace and Roseboom, they haven't shown you any reason not to go out and look around, but you hit it when you first started. This goes back to not addressing this position in the offseason like it should have been. It's funny. We were talking before the show started. We were talking about the Braves. And I was telling you about Alex Anthopoulos did a bad job in the offseason not addressing the bullpen. And guess what? The bullpen's been terrible this year for the Braves. And you're seeing the same thing with the Panthers. They didn't address the linebacker position. Yeah, I'm with you. Josie Jewell certainly would have helped had he been out there. But he wasn't a game-changing type of linebacker anyway. So there is no I have no problem with you going out and looking at somebody's practice squad or, maybe make a deal or something.
Make a deal. I mean,
look, this has been the case as long as I can remember this organization being around. They can't cover tight ends.
Nope.
Trey McBride, I don't know what happened when they came here last year. They somehow shut him down. They didn't shut him down yesterday.
No.
Guess what? They got another tight end who looks like he may be finally starting to get it next week, and that's Kyle Pitts. We saw him last night.
Yep.
That's going to be a problem trying to cover him. I guarantee you neither one of those guys is going to probably do a great job. So
not a chance.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I just – listen, if I'm trying to be objective, I think what Dan Morgan probably thought was he brought in all these defensive linemen, which he probably thought would help keep the offensive line off of our linebackers and they'd be able to make plays.
Yeah.
I get that reasoning, but that's a whole different ball game because some of these linemen he brought in aren't doing anything. Bobby Brown is supposed to be a great run stopper, and he's non-existent. Derek Brown seems to be getting back and he playing well, but listen, it ain't working, so fix it. And again, the linebacker position used to be a position you felt you could fix pretty easily. I'll give you a name. Philadelphia loves to make trades, and they've got a plethora of linebackers. Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
I think they'll trade Zach Bond.
Yeah, I wish. I would take him in a heartbeat. But just call him and see what we can get for Trotter, what they want for Trotter, if they're willing to trade him. But the dude had a great preseason. He's not getting much playing time because they're so deep at that position. Yep. Let's go get a linebacker. Enough of these two dudes. I can't see Wallace play anymore. He's awful. And again, looks like Tarzan, plays like James.
He's going to play just because, as you said, they don't have any other options right now. That's the problem. Well, is you can't just say, all right, we're going to try this guy. You're going to literally have to go out and get somebody if you want to make a move.
Well, I will be shocked if there's not a new linebacker or two on this team by Tuesday, tomorrow. I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll be
not that they'll be playing Sunday against Atlanta, but they at least might be.
That's a whole
in
different
the building.
That's a whole That's a whole different ball game. All right, so we're kind of on the same page on that.
I'm with you on that one.
All right, Panthers run defense yesterday looked better. They only gave up 100 yards rushing or something like that. Which before the game we all thought, look, Arizona's got two good running backs. They got a quarterback that can run. They held them to, I think, 100 yards. So first time in a long time that a team, I think, didn't get 200 yards on them. But like, I want to feel good that maybe the run defense was better, but then we were down 20 points early in the game and we knew the Cardinals were going to run the ball, right? I mean, they did throw the ball a lot too, more than I thought they would, but that was because their receivers were running wide open across the middle because we can't cover them. But am I right to feel better about the run defense, or is it just, was it just because they kind of knew Arizona was going to run the ball a lot anyway, but then when they're up 20 points, you can play the run a lot easier?
I can be with you. I think you can feel encouraged by what you saw from the run defense. Here's the problem, DJ, and I hate keep going ahead and looking ahead.
Trust me, Bijan Robinson's going to be in my nightmares all week.
You saw him last night run over the Vikings. It started early.
Yep.
First drive, he's running all over them.
Yep.
They just couldn't convert into touchdowns. But I think they did. If you want to throw some positives out yesterday. I think that you can throw that compared to what we have seen, what we saw last week in Jacksonville and what we saw last year. I think that's a point of encouragement. I would temper it with that, but I hear what you're saying.
And trust me, I had to work really hard to find some positives when it came to this Panther game. And even that one, I kind of feel like I'm lying to myself. However, let's hope they can build on that. You just mentioned it. The Debbie Downer part of that is, as good as Connor is and Murray and Benson, Bijan's a whole different ball game, man. And
then they change it up with Algier when they bring him in there.
And Algier's always kicked the Panthers' butt. So, I guess this week against the Falcons, we'll find out more about, is the run defense getting better, or was that just because they were down so many points and pretty much knew what was going on? All right. Another positive.
You found another one.
I found another one. Last week, I was telling Frank, and we argued about this, and shocker, right?
Can't believe it.
That the Panthers had to get these young guys in the game. And I was speaking mainly about Umanilin, Scorton, and Ransom.
Right.
Well, guess what? Canales we saw, which I thought was crazy that he said he's been pushing the defensive staff to
I'm glad you brought that up, because that, and I hate to go back to last week, but that irked me when I heard him. Was that last Monday when they had his Monday press conference?
Yep.
And he was basically saying, I've been encouraging the defensive coaches to get. You're the damn head coach.
That's what I'm saying.
Why are you encouraging anybody to do anything? You make the final decision.
I'm with you.
Who's on the field? So why was that even an issue?
You know what? I'm totally with you. It drove me crazy. He even said it. He's the damn head coach. You make the call.
Right.
And part of me thought to myself when he said it, that is he setting Avira up to can him? He's the only holdover from the staff before. Are they not on the same page? Was he saying that to kind of throw him out in front of the bus and see if he reacts?
Right.
And he did. He played the guys. And guess what? We saw Princely get his first sack. He was in a lot on third downs in particular. He was in the backfield quite a bit. Scorton, had a couple plays. He didn't flash as much as I'd hoped he did. But Ransom made some plays. I mean, he made some plays. And so I think I liked him when they drafted him. Me too.
State. I thought
he brings a dog mentality to a defense that doesn't have it.
Right.
And so, I thought both Princely and Ransom played well yesterday, and I think you're only going to see them increase their playing time. And I think Scorton's going to be just fine. I mean, he made some plays, or he was close to making some plays, but he looked a little more raw than Princely did, especially when it came to pass rushing. Princely looked good. So that's another positive that I feel good about moving forward. So am I wrong, or am I on the right path?
No, I think you're on the right path. I think you and I are on the same page as far as, I didn't get that from Dave last week, what he meant by that. And however it happened, those guys got on the field yesterday, and I thought you saw some things like, okay, would have loved to seen them last week, perhaps.
Yep. All right. Now back to negative. And
enough for the positive.
And Dave Canales, good guy. I like him. I don't know if he can coach yet, but he likes to have themes for every day. And that's why today I'm thinking, okay, our theme is going to be slow your roll or don't slow your roll. But Dave Canales' play calling it's befuddling at times. And the only way I could think to explain it is I feel like at the beginning of games, he coaches as if we're winning by 21 points. Not until we're down is when I feel like he finally gets a little aggressive. Now, to me, what that tells me is he doesn't trust his quarterback. And he wants to get Bryce off to a good start. He wants to ease into the game, whatever. But we're going to get to this too. But when Bryce seems to play well, it seems to me at least when they're aggressive.
Things are a little chaotic.
The tempo is faster.
Yes.
We had a couple more problems yesterday getting the play in. There was a couple more bad snaps. However, the play calling, to me, he's got to start these games to win these games. He can't say out of one side of his mouth that this is the kind of team we want to be, and we want to do this, and we want to do that. And then the beginning of games, it's like they're just dipping their toe in the water. Listen, we talked about this before the show as well. The last drive of the first half, we get the ball.
You want to get me started? Let's talk about that.
I mean, to me, that was the epitome of what Canales does. You have the ball, You're getting your butts whooped, but you just get a field goal.
3 timeouts.
3 timeouts.
The Cardinals are getting the ball to start the second half.
100%. Even a field goal there, off of the momentum of the last drive, is a huge deal. He runs the ball on first down. Again, to me, it was a drive of a guy that doesn't trust his quarterback. And I need Dave Canales to start coaching with his hair on fire. And I said this last week. Let me tell you this. You come dipping your toe in the water against the Falcons with the rush that they had yesterday against Minnesota, who has one of the best offensive lines in football. And I know they had an injury.
Yeah, they're beat up.
And I know they have basically a rookie quarterback, but I don't care. They're going to bring it. And they did what the Panthers did this offseason. They signed free agency into their defense. They brought in rookies and Pierce and Jalen Walker and Xavier Watts, who I wanted here, who had a pick yesterday. Walker had a sack. I think Pierce had half a sack.
Yep. You
come in here dipping your toe in the water against them, it's over, because they're better than the Cardinals, and they want to be. This is a rivalry game, a division game. 4 hours down the road. If he comes into this game coaching with dipping his toe in the water, they're in trouble. I would start off the game no huddle. I would get Bryce going. Let's get some momentum going and keep the defense on their toes instead of sitting there. And because and this is going to bring me to. I'll hold off on that point because it's next. But thoughts on Canales' play calling? Which
irked you more, the play calling to start the game or the 2-point conversion play calling? Because those weren't great either.
That's on my list.
Those are pretty bad.
And Adam Archuleta even made a comment about after the second one. What are you doing? Like, okay, he also tried on the last drive of the game. I think it was when we got the onside kick when he tried a draw play, maybe the first play.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. If it works, everybody's going to go, okay, great play call. Caught him napping. You're not going to catch him napping on the 2-yard line when they know you got Chuba Hubbard back there. You love to run the ball. I know you didn't have good success down in the red zone last week against Jacksonville when Bryce threw a ball away on 4th down after not being able to throw. I get it. But to run it both times, to me, was ridiculous.
I'm going to be with you on the same page in this aspect. I have said for 2 years, I agree with you about Bryce. He seems to play better when it's like he's not thinking. He's just playing.
Yep.
You saw that. And I know the Cardinals were playing, some soft zone defense kind of in that comeback. Unfortunately, when they decided to turn up the pressure, Panthers didn't have a chance. That offensive line got blown up.
Yep.
We saw that. And that makes you wonder why the Cardinals, I think Archuleta brought this up, why the Cardinals didn't do that more.
I agree.
Because the Panthers couldn't block them yesterday.
Yep.
But I'm with you on as far as I would like to see more up tempo. I get it. You can't do that the entire game. You just can't. But there are times where I think Bryce and the offense would benefit from more up tempo,
no doubt,
stuff. And you saw that. It just seems like he plays better when he's not overthinking or anything. He's just out there playing, and it seems like he's more comfortable in that aspect as well.
And how nice would it be to get off the game with the lead? Like, wouldn't it be nice to be up 7-0 instead of be down?
Always playing from behind.
They're always playing from behind. And listen, that translates to the defense as well. I mean, I don't know if you watched the Giants-Cowboy game yesterday, another one of my teams who lost, a heartbreaker. They've got a really good defense, the Giants, although they got burned when it counted yesterday. But, man, they're so used to playing from behind. When they were playing with a lead, they could come after it, and the defensive line could come after it. Same with the Panthers. If you're playing with a lead, the defense can do some different things. And yesterday, or not just yesterday, the first 2 games of the year, we get into a hole so quickly that it changes everything. And so,
look, you can't turn the ball over first 2 times you have the ball on the road either. That didn't help.
That's my next one. So Bryce Young, I've been a Bryce supporter. I thought Stroud should have been the pick, but I also like Bryce a lot. I was fine with it. Mm-hmm. Bryce shows flashes of potential. He's accurate for the most part. His scrambling ability is underrated, but I'm over this ball security crap. You can't fumble the ball every time you get touched. And people could say, well, the offensive line, whatever. Guys get sacked without fumbling all the time.
Pocket awareness. He just seems to be unaware at times of things that are happening around him.
Yeah.
And that leads to turnovers.
And they're killing this team. And so I'm done with Bryce and the fumbling, done with it. The interceptions, I think he's got 3 interceptions so far this year. You could argue Well, one definitely wasn't his fault. The Dowdle interception against Jacksonville was hit him right in the hands, and it went up in the air.
And the guy looked like he jumped the route. That was pretty good play from.
Could have even been pass interference. Although I did think that Bryce shouldn't even have thrown that ball. There was two defenders near him.
Yep.
Yesterday, same kind of thing. The turnovers are killing us, and so that probably also translates into why Canales maybe doesn't trust him as well, or maybe he wants to ease him. So I get that too. But enough. Listen, if Bryce Young doesn't turn out to be the quarterback that we need him to be, this franchise, you think we're at the bottom now, it's over for a long time. Because guess what? There's no quarterbacks coming to save this team in this draft next year. There's not. I mean, you got Nussmeier out of LSU, who maybe could be good.
Okay, Klubnik, who has disappointed so far.
He's not a quarterback. He shouldn't even be on their list. And then you got Drew Aller from Penn State. Maybe. I mean, look, he's got all the tools, but, I'll watch Penn State play sometimes, and he looks like he's, an average Joe. So there's not a quarterback in this year's draft. And really next year, I mean, maybe Lenore Sellers this year, but I mean, he hasn't been great this year. Now
he's concussed.
And now he's concussed. So there's not a quarterback coming to save this team. Bryce has got to be the guy. So you got to let him go out there and sling it and trust him. But Bryce has got to take care of the damn ball. Enough of these turnovers. You're killing the team. He's got 5 turnovers in 2 games. Bryce.
Yeah.
So enough of that. And look, he finished the game 35 for 55, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, and a fumble. So the people that are wanting to sit here and support Bryce are going, those are great numbers. Adam Archuleta even said at the end of the game, look, I'm sold on Bryce now. The guy can play when he has time to pass the ball. I don't disagree with him. But he can't turn the ball over all the time. And also the coach has got to let him get off to a quicker start. Trust him. I think his first pass both games was a little screen pass to the running back, maybe. Let him throw the damn ball. The other thing that drove me crazy, this goes back to play calling. You've got your first round rookie, Ted McMillan, who has been more than any of us thought he was going to be. And we all thought he was going to be good, but he's been even better. The last drive of the game, how do you not even throw him the ball?
Right.
He's 6'4". Let him go jump up in the air and get one. Take a chance. And they didn't even throw him one pass, I don't believe, on that last drive,
did not.
Which is criminal. So
in defense of that, you're right. It goes back to when the Cardinals decided to bring pressure.
Yep.
Bryce was running for his life or just throwing it up there. So, but you've got to find a way to get him the ball.
Got to get him the ball.
It's obvious he's your best playmaker right now.
Not even close.
You got to get him the ball.
And they didn't even throw him the ball on that last drive, which is criminal. And to the Cardinals defense, you're totally right. I mean, out of those 326 yards, how many of those came the first 2 drives when Cardinals were bringing it? None, hardly any.
No,
how many came on the last 2 drives of the game, or the last drive in particular when they were bringing it?
Yeah,
none.
Right.
I mean, we went from just looking like it was just a JV practice going right down the field to once they cranked it back up, we did nothing. And the offensive line was awful. I know Robert Hunt was hurt, and that we'll talk about that in a little while too. That's going to hurt. I know that Corbett seems like his injury is going to be pretty serious for the 3rd straight year. I think Mays back coming into the game isn't going to be that much.
Cade did all right last year.
He did fine. I don't think that'll be much of a drop off.
Hunt being out's a problem.
That hurts because let me tell you something. Your boy from NC State,
Chandler Zavala.
He looks like a
big penalty there.
Big penalty, and
late in the game.
I know, and during preseason they were very high, saying he looks like he's getting it, whatever, and maybe next week he will. But whenever I see him play, he looks like one of those things when you're going to a concert. What do you call the thing that you have to go through? That turnstile. He looks like a damn turnstile. Guys just run right by him, and so that's going to be obviously a huge concern going into this week's game, but. Regardless, I need to see Canales let Bryce open it up early, let him get into his tempo early, take the handcuffs off, let happen. And then when that happens, Bryce has got to take care of the damn football. I understand you're going to throw interceptions, right? It's going to happen. But let him do it. We'll live with it. The fumbles are what's killing me. He's got to take – and look, Frank Garcia, I was watching the game with Frank yesterday, and, he's never been a big Bryce guy. He likes Bryce, but he doesn't think that he's the guy, right?
Right.
And he thinks he's too short. And every time Bryce fumbles, which seems to be quite a bit, he always goes, he's got small hands. He's got small hands. Maybe that's right. I don't know. tuck the damn ball in. I don't know what you have to do, but enough of this fumbling. The fumbling, we can take some interceptions. That's going to happen, but the fumbling's ridiculous. You got to have better pocket awareness and ball security. It's crucial, and it's killing this team. These turnovers are putting us in a hole so early, the first 2 games, and you do it against a good team. Listen, Jacksonville played well yesterday, but they're a team on the rise. They're not a good team yet. The Cardinals, they won 6 games to start the year last year, I believe, and then they went downhill. Now they're 2-0. They let us back in that game, but they're not going to be a playoff team, in my opinion. But now you got the Falcons coming to town, who look a lot better than they were last year. That's for sure. And last year, if you remember, they choked, or they would have made the playoffs. They choked, I think, on the last game, or second to last game of the year. So the competition is going to get tougher. I mean, even the Patriots, who we go to in 2 weeks with a big road game yesterday, yep. and Vrabel's got those boys playing hard. And after those first 4 games, the schedule gets brutal. So it's only going to get tougher. Let's let Bryce try to get off to a good start, take the handcuffs off. We'll live with some interceptions. The fumbling, though, Bryce got to take care of the damn ball. Like, enough. I'm over it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And it goes back to what I said a second ago. It seems like his awareness is not there at times when he pressure is coming, and he just seems unaware of it. I will go back to something that I heard Adam Archuleta say yesterday about Bryce. It was late in the game, and he's driving them down the field for what would have been a miraculous comeback.
Yep.
He talked about it's something you can build off of if you're Bryce Young. That bothered me because you're in year 3. I get it if that's Bryce's rookie season, maybe a comment like that. Yeah, okay, it's something you can build off of.
Yep.
Even last year, something you can build off of. You're in year 3 now. It's time to stop moral victories, and hey, hopefully we can build off of that. And I know a little bit ago we were trying to come up with positives of what we saw yesterday, but when it comes to Bryce, you need more than just, well, there's something he can build off of. You got to start winning some games, man.
Yeah.
This league is about winning football games.
Yep.
I don't care how you do it. Just find a way to get it done. And unfortunately, more times than not so far, Bryce Young is not being able to do it. Is it all his fault? No.
Nope.
But the moral victories and the, hey, nice try, nice comeback and all that, there comes a point where that stuff doesn't matter.
Yep.
You just got to you got to do better. Don't put yourself in these positions where you're having to rally every week. Like you said, you playing from behind.
Yep.
On the road, it's almost impossible to come back.
And you want to run the ball. You can't run the ball when you're down 20 points.
Right, and that's why I had to throw.
And that's why I threw the ball so much.
You literally had to throw the ball almost every down like yesterday, except for the one draw play you mentioned there on that last drive.
And listen, when you're playing with a lead, it allows you to run the ball. It allows you to take time off the clock. It allows you to try to establish a running game, which I think the Panthers would be able to do with Chuba and Dowdle, who I'm not sold on Dowdle either. That's a whole different ball game. But so I want to see against the Falcons. I want them to come out with their hair on fire. I want to be aggressive from the beginning. Canales has to stop this, dipping his toe in the water the first couple drives. And look, dipping the toe in the water, what has it got him? It's gotten him 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. So maybe
it goes back to DJ. Maybe it's you said it. His full trust in his quarterback.
Yep.
Does he fully trust Bryce Young to come out, start a game like you were?
I don't think he does. And listen, Bryce hasn't given him the reason to, but like I said with these young players, why they should get more playing time. Okay, coming out with your slow game plan hasn't worked. So why don't you come out with an aggressive game plan? What's going to happen? Bryce going to throw an interception? Okay, he did it. He's done that already the first 2 games when you didn't do it. Come out with your hair on fire. Teams are sitting back licking their chops. They know that we're going to come out with a conservative game plan. Bryce is going to throw a screen pass to the running back. He's going to throw maybe a little something outside. Tet's going to get his 1 catch, and then they're going to run the ball, whatever. Enough. Let's be aggressive from the beginning, and let's try to play with a lead for the first time this year, as opposed to, did we have a lead against Jacksonville? Were we up 3-0 maybe to start the game?
No, I thought they kicked the field goal.
I think we tied it at 3.
And then, yeah. So I don't think they ever had the lead.
Let's see what happens if we can play with the lead. All right, moving on. Slow my roll or don't slow my roll. The officiating in football, NFL and college, is freaking awful. Awful. First of all, way too many flags. I mean,
Oh,
it's insane. I watched the Giant Cowboy game.
Yeah.
Giants had more flags yesterday than they've had in 50 years.
Your boy on the offensive line, he got 4 on the one play, went up to the sideline and just lost his mind.
If that guy's not cut today, I'll be shocked. He had 5 penalties, I believe, in the first 10 plays of the game. And one of them, he tried to throw a right hook that was better than any punch in the Canales-Crawford fight the other night.
Right.
But there's way too many flags. Frank always says you can call holding on every play. Panthers had the benefit of a lot of calls yesterday.
They did,
but they also had a couple. I mean, they called that holding on I forget one of the plays where we barely had the guy's shirt, shouldn't have been called. But the officiate's off of college football. I'm a Notre Dame fan. Everybody knows that. You're a Notre Dame fan.
Well, yeah, not as much as I used to be, but you have a right to be angry on that last
play of the game.
Guy got tackled.
He got tackled. It wasn't a hold. It was a tackle. And that obviously turned out to be the game-winning touchdown. And again, that wasn't why Notre Dame lost the game. I mean, they also dropped 3 or 4 interceptions right in their hands. Their defense was a sieve, just like it was week 1 with Miami. CJ Carr looked, I think he's going to be just fine. I think their offense will be fine. But that call, again, how do you how do you throw the flag 20 times a game on these little crazy bullshit crap holds, and then the dude gets tackled in the middle of the field?
Yep.
And you don't call it? Ridiculous. The officiating is ridiculous. The NFL needs to tell these refs, look, let these guys play a little more. It's already bad enough that you can't tackle hard anymore, and you have to lollygag. And there was two penalties. One of the Panthers benefited from where one was against the Giants where they sacked the quarterback.
Oh, it's the weight thing where his weight's fall. What's the guy supposed to do? He's supposed to be from the Matrix and somehow not fall on the guy?
And in the Cardinal game, he didn't even land on Bryce. Like, I don't know what they called. I was happy they called it, but like the refs got to get out of the way. Like people aren't spending all this money or spending 4 hours on a Sunday or a Saturday watching their team play to watch refs throw flag after flag after flag after flag after flag after flag. It's ridiculous. If it's egregious, call it. If it's not, let it go. Let these guys play.
I think the thing that burns me up, and we can certainly talk about this in baseball with a home plate umpire, is just be consistent. Establish what you're going to do, but be consistent. Don't change it up. And I know we get into these discussions all the time. Well, you can't make that call in the fourth quarter. You can make it in the first quarter. Well, if you made it in the first quarter, you got to make it in the fourth quarter. That bothers me more than missing the call. Is just be consistent. Yeah. And I guess if you've been flag happy all day, you're going to keep throwing the flag. But it gets to a point. This thing about the weight and you're sacking the quarterback, and just because you fall on them, they got to throw a flag. They got to get rid of that. Yeah. I think Clay Matthews was the first one a few years ago for the Packers. They called that on, and that's where it started. It's almost like with the Calvin Johnson catch, no catch. It's where the football move came into play when catching the ball. And that's right now, that one bothers me a lot, is the weight. Guy sacking the quarterback and somehow, that's a flag, but I don't know what the guy's supposed to do.
No, I mean, if they're grabbing the guy and slamming him, okay, I get it. But if they're just making a tackle and land on the guy, it's football.
Yeah, what's he supposed to do?
Right. So the refs need to get out of the way, man. The NFL is such a good product, and we can pick it apart all we want, but we're not watching these games to watch 30 flags fly. We're not watching it.
Agreed.
If it's egregious, call it. If it's not, get out of the damn way. All right. I need a breath. Now I'm going to rattle off 4 or 5 college teams, and I'm going to give you my prediction as to where they're going to finish the year.
Okay.
All right. You're going to tell me slow my roll or not.
Okay.
All right. We'll start with Notre Dame since we just talked about that game. Notre Dame wins out the rest of the games, and they make the playoffs. They have two tough games. I mean, they've got some tough games, but the 2 big ones are going to be at Arkansas in 2 weeks. Arkansas is good. They can score. They got a daggone good offense. They got a really good quarterback. So that's going to be one hurdle they'll have to get over. And then at home against Southern Cal, which, we've had their number recently, but early in the season against no competition, Southern Cal seems to be like they're going to be a solid team. But if they can win those 2 games, Notre Dame, and it's not in their hands, they're going to need help. Starting on 2 took their future out of their hands. But I think they win out, and I think they make the playoffs.
So you're telling me my Wolfpack does not have a chance?
They're on my list.
South Bend and upset.
They're on the teams that they're next. Matter of fact,
I'm going to say slow your roll because I just haven't seen in 2 games a reason to make me think they can run the table. I'll say this, though. You said they need help. I don't know if they need help. They're Notre Dame.
It's true.
If they run the table, they're going to get in. You know that.
You would think so.
Irish.
You would think so, yeah.
But I don't know, DJ. What bothered me in week 1, and it just proved my point the other night, where the hell was Jeremiah Love in week 1?
I agree.
It's almost like Marcus Freeman forgot he had him. I kept waiting like
best running back in the country.
Where's Jeremiah Love?
Yep.
He didn't use it. Now he certainly used him a lot more Saturday night against Texas A&M, but I didn't get that. But I'm going to say slow your roll because in 2 games I haven't given me a reason to think they can run the table, that they could probably going to have another slip up somewhere.
All right, now we're going to go to your Wolfpack. They're off to a 2-0 or 3-0 start. Their offenses look great. CJ Bailey's been great. Your running back's been great. Your defense, not so great.
Second half, they've looked really good. First half,
they definitely got off to slow starts defensively, but offensively, they've proven they can score. Wolfpack are going to go 6-0. I think they're going to win their first 6 games, but then I think they're going to finish the season 7-5 or 8-6, and here's why. At Notre Dame, I don't think they get it done. Georgia Tech looks to be the real deal. That guy can coach. Everybody knew the dude can coach, and what he's doing at Georgia Tech right now. I love their quarterback. I love how hard that team plays. They took it to Clemson, who's another team we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But you've got Notre Dame, you got Georgia Tech, you have Miami, Florida State. Those are the 4 games that I think are definite losses. And then at Pitt, and Pitt looked like crap most of the game against West Virginia, who's missing their best running back, lost in overtime. But I think they finish 7-5 or 8-6. And if they do, you happy with that?
7-5 or 8-4.
Or excuse me, 7-5 or 8-4. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I would take that. Because before the season started, I didn't know really what to expect.
Before the season started, you didn't know if you'd beat East Carolina. Like that,
right.
That was a nerve-wracking.
And I looked, they always struggle with Wake.
Yep.
And they did for a little bit, Thursday night. But they just got to figure out how to get the second half defense to play like that in the first half. And if they do that with that offense,
then it can be dangerous.
They can be dangerous. But I'm with you. Look, the schedule is going to get real tough here in a few weeks. So that's why you got a very winnable game Saturday against Duke.
Yep.
Virginia Tech certainly up in the air now with Brett Pry being fired yesterday.
How bad are they?
I think they've got Campbell in there somewhere.
They have Campbell, I think, this week maybe.
So Duke
excuse me, next 2 weeks, I think. Yeah.
So I can buy what you're saying, that they get off to 6-0 wouldn't shock me, but then I think that's when, as good old Jim Ross used to say, business is going to pick up for them.
Yeah, and when you looked at the schedule before the season, you looked at Florida State and you went, they won 1 game last year, whatever it was, and they looked to be the real deal. Miami, you knew definitely was better, but we didn't know they were going to be this good. They laid it on South Florida, which we knew that South Florida run was probably going to come to an end. And then Georgia Tech. I mean, listen, and I'm not saying they can't win some of those games. They certainly could definitely win some of those games.
But they probably won't be favored in those games.
Right.
You would think.
And I would think that those are the tough ones.
It's funny. The one year that Clemson looks like they might be vulnerable, State doesn't get them this year.
Exactly. And
for the first time in forever, I can remember State and Clemson not playing.
And Clemson's not on my list. Clemson's not next on my list, but I'm going to go ahead and jump to them since you just brought them up. I've got a lot of buddies that are Clemson fans. I was with some Clemson guys that I didn't know at my buddy Justin Goff's house on Saturday watching some of the LSU game, and they were obviously, coming off that loss on the last field goal. They weren't happy. And so it was interesting to hear their thoughts and on the team and what's going on. But here's the deal with Clemson. Let's just be real. First of all, Klubnik cannot play. He's not a good quarterback. He's not what they said he was going to be, and he's not what Dabo thought he was going to be and wants him to be. The dude doesn't make enough big plays when they need it. He makes boneheaded plays when they don't need it. And he's not the only reason. Listen, the other thing about Clemson is this. Everybody wants to talk about that defensive line and how they've got 3 NFL players, and they will all be NFL players, but it isn't like they're freaking knocking it out of the park right now.
Isn't it funny, the top 2 quarterbacks that people looked at coming into this year, talking Heisman, right now, I don't even know if they'd get invited. They wouldn't get invited to New York. And that's Arch Manning, who got booed at home.
We're going to talk about him too, yep.
And Kate Klubnik, who has certainly struggled so far.
Yep.
But yeah, Clemson's and I heard EJ Manuel say this morning, the only thing Clemson has going for them is they play in the ACC. And if they can just somehow find a way to get it turned around and make it to Charlotte for the ACC championship, believe it or not, they still have a chance to get in the playoff. We saw it last year.
Yep.
But man, right now it is hard to fathom that they're going to find it, because I think I looked at some of the schedule the other day. It's not terrible, but there's some games on there you're like, I don't know.
Well, here's my deal, Clemson. They're done. They're not even going to make a bowl game. And
I would tell you to slow your roll now.
All right, here's my reason. They're 0-2. Or excuse me, 1-2.
Well, they could easily be 0-3.
No doubt. If not,
down 16-3 at home to Troy.
Yep, and they came back and won that game. Yeah. But Troy's certainly not a world beater, and they're not as good as a lot of the teams that Clemson has left. So they're 1-2. They're not. I think they lose to SMU. They could win that game, but what I've seen so far,
SMU lose to somebody.
They lost to Baylor in overtime 2 weeks ago.
They lost to somebody this weekend, I thought, or they were losing to somebody they probably shouldn't have been losing to, but whatever.
Yeah, well, maybe they did. I think they could lose SMU.
Yeah.
Florida State loss, at Louisville loss. Again, they could win SMU Louisville. I'm just saying
they're going to lose them
with what I've seen.
Okay.
And then they finished with South Carolina, and South Carolina, again, they got their butts whooped, and Sellers out early with a concussion, which I still don't understand how that wasn't a targeting call in this day and age. Ridiculous, but doesn't matter. Vandy took it to him. So Clemson's got their work cut out for them to even get to 6-7 wins, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. And then I was going to talk UNC Charlotte because I think they won their only game of the year yesterday or Saturday. I don't think they win again. And then Tar Heels, I think they're going to get better as the year goes on, but they still play Central Florida this week, Clemson, Syracuse, NC State, and Duke. So I think they can get to 7 wins, maybe 8. I think Belichick's teams will improve. But right now we got Brentson Buckner joining us. We're going to put the headphones on here in a second. Buck, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Buck, I give you credit for wearing that hat today.
I got to be all in. I was all in before the season started, so I can't switch up now.
Well, I'm glad you just missed my rant on Clemson and how I think they may not even make a bowl game.
Yeah, he's not even
I'm done with
missing a bowl game,
done.
Buck.
Klubnik can't play. The defensive line that's supposed to be all NFL, not getting the job done, but Dabo's a great coach, and maybe he straightens it out. But yeah, props to you for. I'm not wearing any Notre Dame stuff today, so I got to give you props, man. How you been?
Man, I've been good, man. Just struggling with this Clemson season, man. And I drank the Kool-Aid earlier in the year. I was believing what I saw. All the talent coming back, and it just has not proven to be out there on the field. And they're getting beat. At the end of the day, you got to look at the scoreboard. I don't take no solace in, it came down to the last snap against LSU. No, you lost.
Yeah.
They found to Georgia Tech, and with I think I heard Mark and you both say with defense full of stars up front, and you can't get a stop against Georgia Tech. And I nothing against Georgia Tech. I actually like King as a quarterback. They run the offense well, but you would think with those type caliber players in your front seven, you can get a stop, and they can't do it. And being down 16-0 to Troy, I almost threw up in my mouth. Nothing against Troy. Troy had a lot of guys from the transfer portal that were power 4 guys, and they're down there playing. But come on, you're Clemson. You got national championship aspirations, and it's just not showing up right now.
Buck, how troubling has it been to see them really? You could make the case in all 3 games. They've been out physicaled. And that to me is a red flag if I'm a Clemson fan. Like that can't happen.
It can't happen. And being a trench guy, I'm a trench warrior. You got to embrace that culture. Physicality is something that you got to practice. It's got to become your culture. And right now, it looks like Clemson doesn't want one part of that. They still want to be a finesse team, and people are not going to come finesse you because now they play into your hands, Clemson. You're going to have the 4-2 guys or 4-3 guys because you get the best of the best when it comes to recruits. People are going to make it a fist fight and really test your manhood, and they're not standing up to it right now. Defensive line-wise, I've been underwhelmed by how they've played. Peter Woods is supposed to be a top 10 draft pick. I like the guy. He got all the measurables. But he hadn't showed up since ACC Media Day.
Yep.
DJ Parker, who is supposed to be the premier pass rusher, he's getting outplayed by the one guy you got at the portal from Purdue. And, that guy's playing like you would think Parker would play. And I've been saying this for years. And, Clemson gets the best of the best when it comes to position. If you look at every NFL draft, when was the last time that Clemson had an offensive lineman that was drafted high? And you get 4 and 5 stars. So that's what to say about your development. There are great players when they get there, but why haven't they took the next step to the next level? And that's where they lose. They're losing that. They're losing the trenches.
Yeah, I agree.
How much do they miss Williams right now with him being out for Cade Klubnik?
I think they miss him a lot because he's the one wide receiver that can get open versus anybody. And that's another thing. I don't see the creativity on the offensive side.
Yep.
It's a lot of teams that don't have the talent Clemson have, but the creativity to find the matchups, to be innovative in how you get your guys open. And if you take one guy away from your offense, you can't get everybody else open. What does that say about your offensive play calling?
Exactly. And I was with some Clemson guys this weekend, and I even asked them, how much, they've lost their coordinators over the years. They lose Vrabel to Oklahoma. Venables. They lose Venables, and so they've had some turnover with both coordinators, and I'm sure that hurts. But when you have a coach like Dabo, who, one of the best coaches of college football, you would think that wouldn't hurt as much as it seems to have hurt. And maybe it is a culture thing and an attitude thing. Venables was certainly that. There's no doubt about it. I mean, those defensive guys loved him. They played with their hair on fire. He was always, you had to hold him back from getting thrown out of the game. He's always yelling and screaming. So that maybe has taken a toll as well. And again, maybe Dabo gets it figured out. He is a great coach. I think Klubnik not being the quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be is definitely hurting them as well from an offensive standpoint. I think that there's probably things they thought they could do with him that he's not doing.
Yes, I've talked to pro quarterback coaches and pro offensive coordinators, and what they haven't seen even since Deshaun Watson left, you don't see a lot of scheming by Clemson offense. You don't see a lot of pass route combination, opposite high-low, 9-7-3s where the quarterback has to scan the field and read. It's so one-sided, RPO slant, RPO flat, wide receiver screen. Everything is like, to quote one of the offensive coordinators I talked to in the NFL, it's high schoolish.
Mm-hmm.
When Deshaun Watson was there, they ran concepts where he read the field, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, go back, find the open guy. Even when Trevor was there, but Trevor was blessed to have 6'5" wide receivers, and he was a super talent himself and probably arguably played with the most talented Clemson defense. His thing was more high school, but they were better than everybody. But now when you got to be able to scheme people when you're not as talented, because let's be honest, Clemson doesn't live in the portal, so they're getting 18 and 17 and 19-year-old guys that got to compete against grown men who ever been in college. You got to schematically make them better. And it's not happening. You just can't throw it out to your wide receiver and he's going to make 2 or 3 people miss. Yeah, if it was recruit versus recruit, yes. But now it's not like that. Teams have gotten better through the portal. So you're playing against grown men. You expect these fresh out of high school, 18-year-olds, one-year guys to be better than guys who's been seasoning. It doesn't happen that way. Yep. To me, and one of my close friends told me, Clemson is slowly becoming Wake Forest. I'm like, what you mean by that? Wake Forest get guys, and Wake Forest become good every 4 to 5 years because the guys never leave early. They mature when they're their 4th year and 5th year senior. They fill that team. They have a good team. They are competitors. But when those guys are young and got to compete against more developed and mature teams, they struggle. And that's what Clemson, it looks like Clemson is headed that direction if they don't get it figured out.
Yeah, well, like I said, Dabo's a great coach, and maybe he will. But right now, from what I've seen through the first 3 games, it looks like it's an uphill battle. Speaking of uphill battles, let's slide over to the Carolina Panthers. There's so many negatives that we could say about the first 2 weeks, and Bryce with the turnovers. What are your thoughts from what you've seen from a former player and coach perspective?
Like you said, you can't turn the ball over in the NFL. You cannot get NFL offenses extra possessions. Yep. And this past week they scored over that led to a quick touchdown. It's 7-0, and you're on the road. Against a quality team in Arizona who's been where you've been, but they got a quality quarterback. They got one of the best running games. They got wide receivers that are starting to mature, one of the best tight ends in the game. You cannot, because when you go on the road, your offense is null and void. We used to always say pack your defense and your special teams on the road, because the offense is behind enemy lines, crowd noise, on the road. But then you turn the ball over against a young defense. We all know Carolina defense is not the strength of the team right now. They're young. You got guys trying to develop, and you go on the road and you're already in plus areas to a team like Arizona, who's going to score fast, build a lead, and just try to hold on to it. It's just struggling. I think, now once Carolina got behind and started to play and they went more hurry up, you start to see, wow, this team does have talent. You know what I mean? Maybe it becomes, maybe we start the game in a hurry up fashion. Because
we talked about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You start put them in a relaxed situation where they're not thinking, we calling the play, we just going. If we make a mistake, we make a mistake. But we're not sitting there asking you to read the field, play tit for tat. We're going to go hurry up, and get going. Because that's when they look the best. He looked like the quarterback that everybody saw last year, the second half of the year, playing that position. Now, do you want to get behind every week in the NFL? No. Because you're going to have more somber Mondays than But I say right now, if that's what he's comfortable with, let him be comfortable. Put him in that situation where he's comfortable and just play. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put a lot of stress on your defense, because if you don't score points or you turn the ball over and have to punt, the defense is going to get wore down. But yesterday, after they got down, they went to the hurry up and the guys were just playing. They looked like a competitive team.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I think Canales has got to stop dipping his toe in the water these first couple drives. It's like he doesn't trust Bryce. He tries to ease him into the game. Look, what's the worst that's going to happen? He's 3 interceptions, I think, in the first quarter or whatever of both games. Let him play where he's comfortable. Start off fast. Play with a lead. You want to establish a run. It's a lot easier to establish a run when you're winning than it is when you're trying to come back from 20 points. Let me ask you this. So Bryce finished with great numbers, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. But Mark and I were talking about how, a lot of that came when Arizona wasn't bringing it. So the first 2 drives of the game, when we had the fumble and the interception, Arizona was, bringing it. They were putting pressure. They were coming after them. And then once they get out to that big lead, they were rushing 4. They were playing, a softer zone or whatever. How much credit do we give to the offense and Bryce for the numbers he put up after that? Because in the last drive of the game, Arizona started bringing it again and we didn't do anything. So how much can we take from that? Or how much does the fact that Arizona got off to such a big lead and kind of played a softer defense?
Well, I give him credit because he still had to go out there and compete against those guys, and so you never want to take that away from him, because he still was playing against a professional team who's trying to take his head off every snap. Yeah. But I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? You got to start off fast. You got to find a way to start off fast, and I don't believe in inflating numbers. You know what I mean? I just don't believe in that, because they all professional football players. You don't think Les Campbell wanted to get more sacks earlier? We're going to rush forward. We're going to play coverage. The pass rush probably asking for that. Yeah. But, Carolina did a good job. But right now, we just see they're vulnerable against these exotic blitzes. Yeah. These things are coming in there, happen fast, and it's putting a lot of stress on the quarterback. I think it's a good building block, because what I saw a team that didn't quit. They could have quit yesterday on that game. They could have said, hey, we're out of it. We're on the road. We're getting mad. They kept on playing. And when you have a team that's young like this and you're trying to find your way, you got to find a building block. Like I said, not to seek comfort. Hey, man, if it means we got to – when we go to the locker room, we down 21-0. That's our mindset. We're down 21-0. Defense, you got to play with your hair on fire. Offense, we got to make up 21 points. You got to find something psychologically that can help them get to that point where they get in that zone where they just playing and not reacting.
Yeah. Buck, you bring that up about building block, and I was going to ask you about this, but you went ahead and went there. Adam Archuleta brought it up. I think it was on the last drive or the drive the Panthers scored the touchdown and then they kicked the onside kick. But he said, hey, this is a building block for Bryce Young. That kind of stopped me, because I'm like, all right, if Bryce is in a rookie year, I can certainly give you that. Something like that's a building block to come back from being way behind. Even last year, I can give you that. We're talking year 3 now for Bryce Young, though. At what point does that stop? And you're like, dude, you gotta find a way to win games now. We're not about moral victories. We're not about patting you on the back. Hey, Bryce, way to hang in there. Great comeback. This is a win or lose business. You are paid to win football games. And unfortunately right now, and again, not entirely his fault, but he has lost more than he's won.
Yes, you're right about that. You got to take the training wheels off. You find some pluses out of that to build, because it's a long season. Nobody's going to save you. The commissioner of the league not going to say, well, Carolina's struggling right now, we're not going to play the rest of the schedule. Yeah. There's no JV teams out there. You know what I mean?
Here come the Falcons with Bijan Robinson, who just ran over the Vikings last night.
But, I think he got to take it upon himself. He shouldn't want those pats on the back. He got to stand up and say, hey, man, I'm here to win games. I'm a professional quarterback. We're here to win games. And that's what we get judged on. This is a production-oriented business. And as a team, the production means, did I win or did I lose? And so now in year 3, you got to go. You got your roster together. You got two first-round wide receivers, big bodies. You got Hunter Renfrow, who I thought showed what he does yesterday. Yep. He's going to be a comfort blanket for you in there. He's going to be you got a hell of a running game. I love Carolina's running game. It's old school smash mouth when they get it going. They're going to run 22 and 23 double, and they're just going to tell you where the ball coming, and our backs are going to find a hole.
But you can't run the ball if you get behind like they've done the last 2 weeks.
When you're on the road, offense, you cannot put your defense. That was a +7 on the offense. Mm-hmm. I've been arguing this all the time. When you turn with the ball and it down that close to the end zone, those points should go to the offense, not against the defense. Yeah. Because defense, you're taught to defend every blade of grass, but come on now, on the road against an offense like that, who's going to be hyped, they're 1-0. You don't want to start like that. And you're right, Mark. I'm with you. No, we don't want no moral victories. We have to win, and you only got to win by 1 point. But I'm not a guy. I learned in my coaching career, it's no pretty loss and no ugly wins. Just give me a win. If I get a win by 1 point, I don't care how I look. We have 100 turnovers, but I got one more point than you got on that board, then I'm happy. We on to the next week. And that's what Carolina have to do now. They got to fight for that one victory, and then you build on that. Atlanta this week, this is our Super Bowl if I'm Carolina. This is man, we go out back against what? Because guess what? The more and more we get those checks in that L columns, there's going to be new helmets and names on the back of these jerseys.
That's right.
Then they start looking at coaching. I've been a part of it. They start looking at coaching where you're not coaching them right. And to defend the coaches coach to win every week. But our hands are tied behind our back come Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every play that we run, every defense we put is meant to stop the other team. Now it's execution by our guys. And that's the urgency in which they got to display, going on the rest of the season.
But DJ is, I think, at his breaking point with Xavier Legette. He's ready to walk away.
That was my next question.
And I tried to temper him. I say, I don't know if you can do it right now, but when Jalen Coker comes back, and if Xavier Legette continues to play like he's playing, that's a discussion that needs to happen. When you've watched him, why has it not clicked for him yet?
I don't know, because he has all the talent. And I heard Captain Munlin say this, dog, you're becoming a caricature.
Yeah.
Oh, you talk country, you eat coon, you in the videos, you ride horses, you do all that. But you get paid to play football. And it's not showing up on the field. I'm a fan. I like the kid. I think the kid is talented. I used to say he's a bigger, faster version of Moose when I see his body, his body-wise. But at the end of the day, you got to produce on the field. And if you're not producing, the thing that hurt me the most was week 1 when they kept on showing the clips of him not blocking these cornerbacks. Yeah. You're a big wire. You're supposed to be met. If you're not going to catch the ball, if you're not going to affect the game and catching the ball, which wide receivers love to do, how can you affect it? Be an imposing blocker. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make sure my guy don't make the tackle. I'm going to eliminate your safety, your nickel, your defensive end, your linebacker, because Moose used to do it. I'm not getting no passes. I'm going to go take it out on these defenders. He's not doing that right now. And to me, I don't know the kid personally, but it's too much made about the things off the field for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I ride horses. You know, I'm a country kid. I'm this. That's all fun and good when you're winning. Everybody want to hear those stories. But when you're losing, who gives a damn?
Yeah.
We want to see you play football. I don't care if you can't talk or you're the most proper person in the world. You eat raccoons, filet mignon, whatever. I don't give a damn if you're not helping me win games. And I think right now, it happened with Bryce. They said Bryce on the bench. He became a better quarterback. When we all agree, maybe you sit this guy on the bench and realize, hey, man, it's about production. Maybe that'll open his eyes to put more time on the field and doing things and get himself out the slump. But right now, he's been probably one of the most disappointing guys on this team for me.
Yeah, and even yesterday they showed a couple other plays where he just seemed to be very lackadaisical, even at the end of the half, in the first half, even getting to the line of scrimmage when they're trying to hurry up, and he was kind of taking his time. So I agree with you. I think sitting his butt down, not even dressing him. I mean, look, you've got Bryson Tremaine, who they like a lot, 6'4", made a heck of a catch yesterday. Jimmy Horn Jr. on the practice squad. I mean, I don't know if he's ready or not either, but I know he brings an element of speed and elusiveness to the team. But I agree with you. Sit his ass down and let's see if he comes back and takes it more serious and focuses more on the football field. He can ride his horses and eat raccoon in the offseason and be in videos, whatever the hell else he's doing. A lot more of those opportunities will pop up too if he catches 8 touchdowns this year. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And my thing is too, that's gonna have to come from Bryce. That's what the good quarterbacks do.
Yeah.
Hey, coach, he's not helping us right now. Get me somebody here that can help me.
Yeah.
I've seen Steve Young do it. I've seen Cordell Stewart do it. I've seen Boomer Esiason do it. I've seen quarterbacks go to the coach and tell the player, I'm making this change. We're trying to win. Until you get on the level with us, you know what I mean? You can't help us right now. I need to do, and that's going to come with the maturity of Bryce. Now, I understand Bryce is a very quiet guy. He doesn't want to upset the apple cart, but somebody has to stand up in that room and call everybody's feet to the carpet.
Yeah. And, Bryce, that's one of the things we talk about, Bryce, is he a good leader? Is he the guy that can put the team on his shoulders and do it? And doing something like that, I think, would make the other players, and you could relate to this, I can't, but I would think the guys in the locker room would gain more respect for Bryce if he did do something like that and say, okay, this is our guy. He just had the balls to go in there and tell the coaches that this guy's not getting it done right now. Let's put somebody else in there until he's ready to play.
And then what that also does, it makes you elevate your game. Because if I call Mark out and say, DJ, Mark ain't doing what he's supposed to, guess whose spotlight goes on? It goes on me too.
Yeah.
Because my dishes are not clean too. So now that put pressure on me to elevate my game. And you need that in that locker room right now, because like they're searching for something.
Right.
They're searching for something to hang their hat on. And now it don't have to come from Bryce. Somebody on the defense got Derek Brown could stand up. Hey, man. We out here fighting. Hey, it's some stuff I need to do better. But one thing you're not going to say about me, I'm not playing hard. And you can say that about Derek Brown. Do we do everything perfect? No. But you can't turn on that film and say he's not playing hard. He's not going 100%. And so it might have to come from the cornerback. Horn might have to stand up and say, hey, man, we got to pick it up.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come save us. And I've been in those locker rooms before. Yeah. You got to look each other in the eye and say, hey, man, it's us. It's us.
Yep.
That's the only thing that matters. They're going to cheer for you. They're going to boo for you. At the end of the day, what are we going to do for ourselves? And that's what I think got to happen with this young team. Somebody's got to grab the bull by the horns and say, hey, man, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to call everybody out, but I'm going to put the pressure on me to be who I'm supposed to be too.
It will be interesting to watch the number of targets XL gets going forward, because I think he had 8 yesterday for -2 yards or whatever.
Yep.
And DJ brought him up. Tremaine, if that's a guy that Bryce Young starts feeling comfortable with, those targets that XL's been getting, those all of a sudden start going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If I'm the quarterback, they're going to the people who going to help me do my job.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but my job is to move, because at the end of the day, quarterback will get 99% of the blame.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get all the credit when you win, but he's going to get the blame. But it's his job to put the team in a better chance to win. And if you're not productive, you're not catching the balls, you're not doing nothing with, I'm not going to waste them on you. I love you. But at the end of the day, we got to win games. We got to be more productive. Being at home, Atlanta is coming off a great win. If you watched that game last night, Atlanta defense done turned that corner now.
They sure did.
They got some pass rushers that come and hunt. They played a backup cornerback last night who probably played the best game of his life. He said he didn't even know he was going to make the trip until like 24 hours before the trip. But he played those opportunities. This is a big challenge for you against your down-the-street rivals coming home. They got two good running backs. Their defense is playing well. They believe in their quarterback. Hey, man, it's win now for me. That's the attitude. We got no other game on that schedule exists but this one.
Yeah, I think we need to get Buck into the Panthers locker room this week to say just that, because you made a lot of great points. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Your specialty, not only as a player, but also as a coach. I was on the record last week as saying that the Panthers need to get these young guys that they drafted in the game. Ransom, Umilian, and Scorton in particular. And my point was that they can't be worse than what we're doing. We got no sacks. There's no juice on the defensive side of the ball. Well, they did. They all got a lot more playing time. We saw Princely got his first sack. He was in the backfield quite a bit. Ransom, I thought, had a good game. Had some great tackles up towards the line of scrimmage. Scorton didn't really have too many things that you go. He didn't have a sack or whatever, but he was definitely active. And you can see that he's got something there to work with. What were your thoughts on how the young guys played? And then the second question would be with the defensive line. Derek Brown had a good game. You can see he's starting to probably get back in game shape. But the one guy that on that defensive line that's really disappointing me is Bobby Brown. They bring him in from the Rams saying that he's a heck of a run stopper, and he's been non-existent. And when they do show him, it seems like he's getting his butt whooped.
Yes, I believe in playing young guys. Offensively, you can sit over on the side, you can learn, but defense is see ball, get ball with young guys, because a defense coordinator can put them in a situation where there's not going to be a lot of thinking. Just use your natural instinct. I've been watching Ransom since high school out in Arizona. He's from Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
That guy's a football player. Does he have ideal size? No. Do he have ideal speed? No. But put that ball somewhere, he's going to get it.
Yeah.
And he's coming with bad intentions. And the two young pass rushers, they weren't as drafted as high as the guys from Atlanta were, but you look what Atlanta do with their guys. Go out there and go for it.
Yep.
Go for it. You're going to make some mistakes. That's to be expected, because you don't know what you don't know when you're a rookie. But go for it and play with that energy, and that's what the defense needs. I think Derek Brown, that was his best game so far in this young year. He played hard. You can see why he's a special football player, but Brown has been a disappointment.
Yep.
And maybe it's the pressure, because with the Rams, he didn't have to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted the two young guys from Florida State last year. They got Kobe Turner out there. So it could be a schematic type thing, but he has to play big. That's why you are here. Carolina was looking for big body guys that can play, but just do what you do. What happens a lot with players in free agency, they get paid for doing a specialty, but then they feel the pressure of, I got to become something else. I got to get sacks. I got to be this. No, do what you was paid to do. Anything you give me after that is extra, is bonus.
Yep.
Come in there and say, I'm going to be the best run stopper in the world. When I got paid here in Carolina, my second time when I got here, I was paid because I could think. I could line up everybody. I could play the game forward. So Pelt, Jinx, and Ruck didn't have to do all the thinking. That was Buck's job.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to do my job, be in my gap, make some plays when it's come. But my job was to make sure, hey, I watch this on film. Ball going right.
Yep.
And that's what I embrace. So embrace who you are. Every snap you're on the field, the most important job for you is your job.
Yep.
Bobby Brown, if you're going to be a run stopper, you should say, I'm going to be the best damn run stopper they've ever seen.
Yep.
And, Buck, you brought up those young defensive guys for the Falcons, and one of them, Jalen Walker, is a guy that I thought the Panthers were going to take. I think he thought they were going to take him. And I just remember watching him on draft night when the Panthers went with T-Mac instead of him. He had that look like, I'm circling that game. And when he got drafted by the Falcons, I'm like, that's a game, he's got circled twice on that schedule. So he's coming in here this weekend with bad intentions, I'm afraid, on Sunday.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm cordial friends with his uncle, and that was his dream team.
Yep.
To come play in Carolina. He's from this area. He wanted to get back and play, and that was the best scenario that in his mind would be the best scenario. And when it didn't happen, but you also look at Pierce. Pierce went to high school, 4 miles from
Yeah.
You think he's not jumping at the beat?
Oh man.
And play at home. But that's what it is. Now, it's nothing against T-Mac. I think T-Mac is developing faster than I thought he would. I think
agree.
receiver is one of the hardest jobs to play because you got to get used to bigger cornerbacks running to different coverages. But he's a mismatch. He's a big body guy that can run.
Yeah.
But those guys on defense from Atlanta, they're hunting. They want to hunt. I say put your guys out there and let them hunt. I know as a defensive guy, you want to be schematic. You want to be able to do this because I fell a victim to that. No, I need this veteran guy because he knows what we're going to do. No. At the end of the day, I got young blood that's going to inject energy. Put them out there and let them go.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. And the loss of Turk Wharton, who had a good game in Jacksonville before he got hurt, that definitely hurt too, and he'll be out for a few more weeks. Back on the defense, I said this earlier in the show, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Our linebacking play is horrible. Trevin Wallace, 3rd-round pick last year, flashed a little bit in his first season. He looks lost and he can't cover anybody. Roseboom, same thing. We knew that was going to be an issue going into the season. Losing Jewell didn't help, but it wasn't like he was a game changer at linebacker. I still don't understand why we didn't address that position more, whether it be in the draft or through free agency. I'll be shocked if they don't address it, whether it's today with bringing in some guys. But I think it's by far the worst linebacking play in the NFL. Maybe the worst I've seen. It seems whenever you see Wallace, it seems like he's chasing somebody instead of making a play up at the line of scrimmage. Roseboom, does seem to get side to side all right, but neither one of them can cover anybody. What are your thoughts with that? And because they don't have depth at that position, what do they do?
Well, I think you can only play with what you got. Maybe you simplify it. If there are people running past their face, you got to stay out of man if you're playing a lot of man. A lot of times you just got to go, hey, we're going to go basic high school cover 2, cover 3. Everybody get to their zone, make your tackles.
Mm-hmm.
You got to break it down because you got to build confidence. You got to build confidence and find out what those guys can do. Let them make some plays, get their confidence, then start to add little ingredients in there. Then when they start struggling again, cut it back. Now, a lot of defensive coordinators, a lot of coaches don't like to do that because they feel handcuffed. Dick LeBeau used to tell us all the time in Pittsburgh, it's not what I know, it's what y'all can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's
it's
true.
What y'all can do. If we can only do this and we can do it good and everybody can do it, hey, we're going to do it. We'll know where they're going to attack us at. We'll know and we'll adjust that way. But it might be about simplified, but I'm always a believer. I'm a defensive line coach. My job as a defensive lineman is to make everybody's job behind me better.
Mm-hmm.
Make it better. When Dan Morgan got hurt and we had to put Will Witherspoon, a 215-pound linebacker, in that middle linebacker, guess what we said up front? Let's make his job easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When Mark Fields got sick and Greg Favors had to come in and start, guess what we said? We can make his job better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they got. And that's the pride up front. That's what Derek Brown got to get his guys and say, hey, we're the most veteran group on this team. We're probably the highest paid position all together on this team. Let's make their job better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not depend on them to make the tackles. We can make them at the line of scrimmage. If they do got the tackle, it's going to be one-on-one because we took up the blocks. Or are they struggling in pass a pro? Let's get our hands up and tip some of these balls. Let's make this quarterback have to pump it. Affect the game. We're the closest guys to the ball. I used to tell my D lineman all the time, the first time you look back at a linebacker or a defensive back for giving up a catch, I'm bringing you out the game. Why? You're closer to the ball than they are when it's snapped.
Yeah.
Make that quarterback do something with it. Make him get off the spot. Make him have to pump. Make him have to put air up on it to help those guys. And that's the mindset you got to carry into the game. Where the pressure? Pressure is a privilege to me. You know what I mean? It's a guy's game. A lot of guys don't want the pressure. They just want to do their job. No, wearing pressure is a privilege. You should wear it like a crown on your head, like a badge of honor. This team is not good if we're not great.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We don't stand a chance to win if we're not great. So that it makes you elevate your game.
What do you think? Mark and I were talking about this earlier as well, about how the Panthers, if we're taking some positives out of the game yesterday, their run defense did seem to show some improvements.
Yes.
Now, if the other side of that would be, we were down 20 points Arizona didn't have to throw the ball as much. They were trying to run the ball more, so we had a good idea what they were doing. How much can we take out of that? And can you sit there as a defensive line coach as well as a defensive lineman? Do you sit there and say, you know what, I did see them do this, and that, and I do think the run defense was improved? Or was it a result of Arizona having such a big lead and not really having to go downfield as much?
Well, for the run game, you can take a lot of pride in that, because when a team go about 20, you're gonna get every run they can. They don't want to throw the ball. They don't want to put the quarterback in harm's way. So for Carolina to go up against that on the road and pretty much shut down, I think James Conner is one of the top 10 running backs in the league.
No doubt.
I had the privilege of coaching Arizona out there. He runs hard. His offensive line believes in him. He gives them the chance. And you got a running quarterback. And you figure, I think they gave 82 yards rushing yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Not 100,
and
yeah.
Kyler Murray got 30 of that on a scramble.
Yeah, he got loose at one time.
Yeah. He got loose. And to give up those numbers, that's another building block you can find, because when you knew they were going to run the ball, they had the lead, you're going to get every run. I've seen teams fold up and they get gassed for 5 and 10 yards. Oh, they running the ball, we get worn out. No, those guys showed some pride. Like, we're not going to let you just run it down our throat and run this clock out. And that really helped Carolina have a chance to get back in the game. So defensive line-wise, you got the bodies to do it. You just proved you could do it on the road after giving up a big lead where you know they're going to run the ball and you was able to shut it down. Like I said, you take Kyler Murray's scramble away, they've got 50-some yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you can build on up front, because right now you got to find something to prop yourself up on, and that's a good building block.
Yep.
And they're going to get tested this coming Sunday when the Falcons, as you saw last night, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch they got right now.
Yeah, they better start building some blocks quick.
Yeah, because Bijan is, like I said, he doesn't get the notoriety that Saquon get, and arguably so. But Bijan Robinson is one of the most skilled running backs to come through the NFL probably in the last 10 years. Watched him in high school too, because him and the safety for Carolina played on the same high school team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they the one from Ohio State.
Ransom.
They was on the same high school team out of Tucson, Arizona. And I actually watched him in the state semifinals versus my son them. And, he's been that guy with the ball in his hand. But it's another challenge. Now, you did it against Arizona, who has a good running back, good running game. Now let's step it up now. Now, this is a challenge. Like I said, this game is important because you get this win. You play good defensively. Offensively, you score one more point than them. Now you can build, because Atlanta is a most improved team. And what Atlanta does well, Carolina has struggled with up until yesterday in the run game. So it can be a building block for you.
If you start 0-3 and you start 0-1 in the division, I don't know if this team, Buck, is capable of coming back from something like that.
Yeah, you start 0-1 because BA used to say all the time, losing the division game is like losing 2, really.
Mm-hmm.
You start that's a deep hole, because not only do you have to work out the physical mindset, then mentally you start, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's a true concept in the NFL. Guys start to question everything they do. They start to question, have I trained enough? Are we calling the right plays? Are we in the right situations? And you get that poison to leak in your locker room, it's hard to overcome. Mm-hmm. This early in the season is really hard to overcome, because now you start schedule watching. Well, who can we beat? We're going to struggle against it. How many times we're going to be on the road? And you can't have that leak in. So you got to find a way to win this game. Like I said, it could be 3-2.
Yeah, just win.
Just win. Throw everything up against the wall and just go. But 0-3 is a hard hole to step out of when you're not, let's say you're not a veteran-laden team. There's not a lot of future Hall of Famers on this team right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to go out there and put your hand in the dirt and come out with a victory by any means necessary.
Yeah, and if you do beat the Falcons, you're 1-2 going to New England. New England had a great game yesterday. They're improved, but at least that's a game that you think you've got a shot to pull off. And
it puts a whole new perspective on things.
No doubt.
A
win would be exactly what the doctor ordered. All right, last question. You put your coaching hat on for a minute. Looking at this Falcon game, and we're going to break this down a lot on Friday, but looking at this game coming up with what you've already seen with the Panthers, with what you saw with Atlanta last night when they looked great. As a coach, what are you telling your defense in particular, and offense too, what do you see as a coach that they've got to do in this game to have a shot to win?
I think you got to make them one-dimensional. The quarterback, Penix, is a good quarterback. Really, his passing, him and the wide receivers are not really on the same page like you would think right now. Atlanta's strength is running the ball. I'm not going to let your strength beat me. If I got to put 8 people in the box, I'm going to say, hey, Penix, you're going to have the game of your day because you're going to throw an errant pass, and I'm going to tell my DBs, when we get a chance to get our hand on it, we get our hand on making pay. But we're not going to let you grind this clock out because Atlanta last year we came to Carolina. It was close. We turned around and handed the ball off, 11 straight times?
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. We ran it down their throat. No, I'm not going to let you do it. And that's the challenge I'm telling them up front. DBs, it's on y'all. We're going to put this extra safety in the box. He's going to see a lot of 8-man boxes. Hey, and we're not going to let them run the ball. That's one thing we're not going to do. We might give up 500 yards passing and he beat us, but he's going to have to become Tom Brady on Sunday. And offensively, I'm saying they like to get out of the pass rush. We're going to pound them. Yeah, they're smallish up front. We're going to pound them. We're not going to let them do what they want to do and turn the edge and run their exotic blitzes and come after us. We're going to go. And I think Atlanta probably going to be down a cornerback or 2. And I'm going to tell the wide receiver, when we take a shot, it's either incompletion, a pass interference, or a touchdown. Because you're bigger than them, you go make a play.
Yeah, A.J. Terrell is going to be out of the game for sure. I think I saw this morning with a hamstring. So you're right. They are going to be banged up at the DB position. So if we can run the ball successfully and get out to a good start, then you would think there would be some opportunities for Bryce to throw it downfield, which honestly, after the first 2 games, we really haven't taken that many shots downfield. A lot of Bryce's stuff has been the intermediate or whatever. So you would think that if they're going to go downfield, this would be the game to try to do that. But thanks for joining us, man. You're always great. Love your insight. You made some great points, especially with Leggett and Bryce Young as a leader or somebody on that team stepping up and getting up his butt a little bit and seeing if they can wake him up and get him hungry. And everyone does say he's a great kid, works hard, but right now it's just not showing on the field. So hopefully he can turn that corner. But I think something has to happen to at least, wake him up, whether that's not start him, don't dress him, whatever it is. And I don't think that's going to be the case, but some great points on that. So thanks for joining us, Buck. Hopefully your Tigers get back on track. I think you play what? Syracuse? Who's your
Syracuse Saturday.
I know.
You lose that game, Buck, and we got problems.
Didn't they beat you last year? I know they had an upset against you not too long ago.
Yes, I'm taking double whammies. I'm getting hit on Saturday, and then Sunday I'm getting hit again, man. I don't know how many licks this body can take.
But Buck, I tell you what, I've been so good the last probably 10 years about not letting my teams dictate how I'm going to behave the rest of the day. And I'm a Notre Dame fan. We're 0-2, lost 2 games in the last, minute of the game. Then I'm a Giants fan. We get whooped by the Redskins. And then yesterday, Russell Wilson looks like he was 24 years old. Yeah. And then our defense, couldn't hold up and their field goal kicker, if I'm Dallas, I'd get the ball to the 50 and just down it.
He's at field goal range.
The dude doesn't miss. He doesn't miss. So I'm 0 for the season in college and NFL right now. So last night I think I probably had to jump in that bottle of bourbon a little harder than I wanted to try to ease my mind. Cause man, I'm 0 for the season.
Oh man, Clemson hurt me. Then Pittsburgh really hurt me. Like it felt like Pittsburgh just tied me up against the fence and kicked me square between my legs. And then away for Carolina, and I'm away for Carolina. Looking at Carolina, I was like, "Oh my God, we got a chance! And then that happened to me. It's been a bad couple of weeks, but I'm calling it this week. We're gonna get off the snide. Everything's gonna happen right. We're gonna have a good weekend this weekend.
I hope you're right, man. And that Caleb Johnson kickoff against Seattle for the Steelers yesterday was something. Like, I know he's a rookie, but you got to think that the special teams coach has told those guys a million times that this isn't college football and you got to get on the ball. And when he just let the ball roll by, I'm thinking he better hope it goes out of bounds. and
the thing was so funny. Harry Foster did that his rookie year too.
Oh, really?
Kickoff team, the ball hit. He ran off the field. Everybody on the sideline screaming, "Get the ball! It's not college. It's not college." I feel bad for the kid because up in Pittsburgh, he's arch enemy number 1.
Oh yeah.
Fans are not talking to him. Mailman not putting his mail in the mailbox.
Him and that defense, Buck. That defense through 2 weeks, boy. I mean, Aaron saved them last week, but man, that's a point of concern already.
they got ran. Like, and one thing Pittsburgh already known for, run defense.
Yeah.
And they'll get ran through like an old folks home with prune juice. It's going through. It's bad. So I leave out with one thing. John Fox used to always say, "You're not as good as you think you are, and you're not as bad as they say you are."
Yeah.
So take that mindset and just go back to work. Just get that victory, man. Build.
I'm with you. How's your son, before we leave, how's your son's games going so far?
Well, that's the only saving grace we had this weekend. They was 0-2. They played Saturday on his birthday in Nevada. They end up winning 13-12.
Okay.
He had a pretty decent game. He had 7 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss and a sack.
There you
So
go.
Nice.
and it was his birthday, so it felt good. So that's the one thing I was able to celebrate this whole weekend.
Man, at least you had that going for you. I'm about to put him on my my scoreboard alert, so maybe I'll get a win this week, and maybe we'll get multiple. Notre Dame better beat Purdue, and you make me feel better about the Panthers shots this weekend. So, Buck, thanks again, man. We'll get you on here in the next couple weeks.
Thanks, Buck.
I appreciate it. Y'all be good.
All right, Buck. See ya. I love talking football with Buck,
Oh,
man.
I can do it all day, man.
I mean,
He's the
he
best.
knows his stuff, and it's always, and Frank being an ex-player does the same thing. But it's always great when you hear ex-players' perspectives on certain situations. Yeah. And then when Buck starts quoting Dick LeBeau and John Fox and some of these coaches who have had a lot of success in the NFL, I feel a little bit better right now than I did before the show as far as what to expect from the Panthers this week. Because, if you look at page like 18 of my notes in here, I think one of my things that I wrote down was that Panthers lose by at least 20. And so after talking to Buck, I feel a little bit better.
Look, when the schedule came out, you looked at these first 4 games, and I said, if you are going to have a decent season, I feel like you got to win 2 of these 4. Well, you're 0-2.
Yep.
You got a home games here Sunday against the Falcons. And, the Falcons' defense looked pretty good last night. We know they can run the ball. But you got to find, like Buck said, it doesn't matter how you find a way to win Sunday. You got to win.
Just win the game.
0-3, you're staring 0-4 right in the face.
Yep.
And let's face it, DJ, with the schedule that's still to come, there's
brutal.
no coming back from 0-4.
Yeah, it gets brutal.
Yeah.
Want to finish the show because when we brought Buck in, we were finishing a few things on Slow My Roll with college football in particular, and I kind of breezed through the fact that Charlotte gets a win over Monmouth this week. I never knew where Monmouth even was, and we beat them in the last second, on a touchdown. So congratulations to Charlotte for getting their first win with Coach Alvin. I think he's going to do a really good job at some point if he can get enough players. That's always going to be a challenge there. But I tell you what, I looked at their schedule and I really don't see another win on there. It's tough when you're a team like Charlotte where you're having to rebuild. You have so many new players, and Rice comes to town this week, and Rice is a 3.5-point favorite. But then it's South Florida.
Army. Scott Abel, former Davidson coach, is their coach.
That's right.
Coming back home.
Exactly. So, literally South Florida, Army, North Texas, East Carolina, UTSA, Georgia, Tulane. I mean, I really don't see another win on there. So hopefully he can surprise us, and if getting one against Rice this week would be great.
I will say this, and I watched a good bit of the Carolina game against Charlotte last week.
Yep.
I know they lost that game. I know they lost to App State, and like you said, they won here Saturday. And it got me thinking. Biff coached Michigan Saturday. He's going to coach them again this coming week. Sharon Moore is continuing the suspension, but it just, when you watch Charlotte so far, they, at least to me, they look like a football team.
Yeah, I agree.
They're not good. They got a long way to go. They're very, but at least they look. They look
more organized.
Yeah, it looks like, okay,
there's a plan.
There's something there.
Yeah,
and I think Tim Albin is going to get the job done. Yeah, it's going to take a little while to build this thing, but I you can already tell there's a difference there.
Yeah, I agree. And Michigan's got a big game at Nebraska this week, 2.5-point favorites.
Yep.
And Nebraska's playing pretty well. Matt Rule's got those boys playing, and Matt Rule wasn't much as an NFL coach, we'll all agree, but he seems to have it figured out in college, and he's got Nebraska playing well. Carolina Tar Heels, beat Richmond. So they've righted the ship after losing to getting their butts whooped with TCU. Now, granted, they did it against Charlotte and Richmond, so let's not start the parade yet. But the one thing that I'll say about Carolina is I have thought that They've gotten better each week. I think defensively for sure. Belichick is starting to kind of get his schemes and his rhythm with the defense. Offensively, we'll see what happens when they get into their schedule. I mean, they play Central Florida this week, which won't be an easy game. They have Clemson, Syracuse, NC State, and then Duke. So definitely some winnable games, but I expect to see those guys get better each game under Belichick. We'll see. But they righted the ship here with 2 in a row. When it comes to college football, I wrote down who I thought right now I thought the best teams were, and maybe tier 1, tier 2. I did it for college and the NFL. In college, Georgia Tennessee game was a great football game.
Unreal.
Back and forth. I think both those teams are the real deal. I think both those teams are going to have a shot at the playoffs at the end of the season. Georgia, after 2 lackluster performances in their first 2 games where they really didn't show anything, they're still Georgia, and Kirby's still Kirby, and you feel bad for that Tennessee kicker. But Georgia still, I think, has got to be up there in the top 4. Oregon, look, they always have talent. They always have speed. They always can score points. Again, they haven't played anybody yet either. But when I watch them play, I think they at least have the makings of being a factor when we get towards the end of the season. And then I'll put Miami and Florida State because Miami on both lines, offensive and defense, seem to have superior offensive and defensive line so far. And look, they beat Notre Dame in South Florida, so they beat 2 good teams. And then Florida State obviously whooping Alabama in the first game, and then rolling last week. It's both those teams have surprised me and look good. And then obviously Ohio State, defensively they are the real deal. Offensively, we'll see what they get going. I brought this up last week, and I don't know if you knew this, but I didn't know that Bo Jackson's son was one of the highest recruited running backs in the country, and he went to Ohio State. And so he didn't play against Texas. And then the second game I saw, he had like 9 rushes for like 110 yards and a touchdown. Then this week against Ohio, he had 9 rushes for like 110 yards and a touchdown. So I can't stand Ohio State, but I love Bo Jackson. And so, it's kind of cool watching his son, tote the ball, and looks like he's going to be pretty doggone good. Penn State, we'll see. They're one of those teams that I'm never sold on, and we'll see what happens when they have the big games. And then LSU, listen, LSU, their offense hasn't looked great. Their defense looks really good. And again, they beat Clemson and Florida. Florida played well that game. The Lagway pick 6 killed them. But Florida, I didn't expect them to even fight as hard as they did. I think that coach is a dead man walking. Yeah. And for them to fight that hard, they play Miami this week. So, we'll see if they can play hard back-to-back weeks, because Miami's going to go in there and bring it. Carson Beck looks like he's found whatever it was he had once there at Georgia. Looks like it's back. And then in the NFL, Green Bay looks to be the real deal.
That defense. Whew.
The defense with Parsons. I mean, people forget all about Gary, who's as good as they come at defensive end. And then offensively, people always question Green Bay's receivers. And I know Jordan Reed went down early in the game against the Redskins, or the Commanders, whatever you want to call them. But Green Bay, to me, if I'm ranking NFL teams right now, I still put Philly 1 because they're the defending champs. They beat Dallas. They just went on the road and beat Kansas City in a must-win game for Kansas City, pretty much. I mean, not a must-win, but you would think coming home at an 0-1 start. The Bills look to be on, hitting on all cylinders right now. And again, I know they play the Jets, but the Jets fought hard the first week against Pittsburgh, but man, Bills looked great yesterday. And then the Ravens, I mean, the Ravens are always there at the end, and the Browns are fighting hard. Flacco, it trips me out. He still seems to be able to throw the ball well, but man, if he has to move, Aaron Rodgers kind of the same thing. If they've got to move 5 feet left to right, it's pretty tough. And but the Ravens look really good. And then we'll see tonight the Chargers and Tampa Bay, 2 other teams that I'm interested to see how they do tonight. The Chargers, I picked them before the year to be a really good team. I know Frank did as well. And Tampa Bay, beating Atlanta in a barn burner. I'm interested to see that. What are your thoughts on those teams?
I'm not sure about Tampa. They got the win last week at Atlanta, late. I'm curious to see what they could do tonight on the road at Houston. I like the Chargers. I'm not a Harbaugh fan.
Me either.
But I think he's got a pretty good team. And that I think the game that Justin Herbert played against the Chiefs in Brazil, I think that's the best game I've ever seen Justin Herbert play.
I agree.
He looked like a top-tier quarterback
He did. He seems like he's bought in and settled in. And Harbaugh, look, that's what he does. I'm not a fan of him either, but that's what he does. He coaches offense and he coaches it well. They run the ball, and if Herbert's going to throw the ball like that, they're going to be a tough out. So yeah, I'm excited to see that game. And they're playing at the Raiders tonight. Him and Pete Carroll. There's no love lost there back in their days when Carroll was with Seattle and Harbaugh was with the 49ers. So no love lost there. And the Raiders got off to a good start with an impressive win in New England. So 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. I'm not sure why they did 2 games tonight.
I'm not a fan of the 2 Monday night games, but I'll watch them.
Yeah, I mean, I like it just because
I'm not going to boycott them.
Hopefully one of the games will be good, if not both. But yeah, you got 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. Big college card again this weekend, and then Panthers Falcons on Sunday. We'll be back Friday breaking all those down for you. Have a good week.